Hello viewers, Super GT here. Over the past couple of weeks I've been trying to get back to my very best on Gran Turismo 7. The game has been out for well over a year now, and during that time my ability has ebbed and flowed. In this session we're going to try and beat our 127.6. This is the qualifying process. We are also going to jump into two very good races as well, and I think this session kind of encapsulates how my playtime on GT7 is going at the moment. So to begin with, getting ourselves a penalty, which is kind of typical in these time trialing sessions. And a couple of laps later, a couple of attempts later, I actually managed to complete an entire lap. And I've always kind of maintained that I'm not much of a time trialer, but I do need to put more time into it in order to make myself better at doing it. So here, through turn 1, here at the Red Bull Ring in the Nissan GTR, gaining a nice tidy amount of time through the first corner. And then we can take a look at this split sector time here, or the delta. 0.2 or quarter of a second, 0.3 up now compared to that Ghost. And so we're just trying to bring down our overall lap time, and then eventually, ideally, get that 127.6 a bit further down. So through the final corner, trying to carry as much speed on the power as early as possible. More than 0.4 going to be gained here as we cross the line. A 27.683, so half a tenth away from beating my personal best lap. And so we can continue here and try to go a bit further. Now through the first corner, gaining a tenth as you can see. And so I know that if I can just bring that home to the end, I could beat my lap time. But unfortunately on this occasion, that was not going to be the case. I kind of just messed up a couple of corners, finishing this lap with a 27.7. Couple of laps later, lap number 12 in the session now, 17 minutes into this time trialing session. You can see here I'm carrying a small advantage into the last couple of corners. Through the penultimate one, carrying good speed, but losing a bit of time. And then through the final corner, we managed to get on the power fairly early and beat the time. There it is, 27.609, so it took 12 laps to beat my personal record. But we can go a bit further. I noticed into turn number 4 here that I could definitely gain a lot more time here. Up into third gear, get on the power really early, and boom, 1.5 tenths up now. And so it's one of those cases where you're just trying to work out where I'm slow, where can I gain, and then trying to hook it all together into one clean and tidy lap. So here, more than 0.2 up on the 27.6, and so this could definitely be a 0.4 or even a 0.3 if I get this last corner really well, really good. I don't, unfortunately. Coming up to the line, it's going to be a 10th improvement to a 27.4, so still good, but I know I could definitely have gone quicker than that. On this occasion, lap 19. A small deficit coming into the final corner, as you can see, but I knew that I took the final corner quite badly and there was room for improvement. I wasn't quite able to capitalise on this occasion, but it was close. And as you can see, the consistency was really good, 27.4 to 27.6. 5 laps within pretty much a tenth and a half. So that would bode really well in the race. And as we come through turn 1, I pretty much gained a tenth on my PB. So let's just take a look how I did that. Braking on the 100 board. Second gear, back to third, letting the car really breathe mid-corner, back on the power as early as you dare, pushing the track limits to the limit and gaining 1/10 on the 27.4. So I know I could do a 27.3, and this is really the process of time trialing, working out where you're slow and trying to just improve that section of the track. And on this occasion we've done that. Into turn 4, we tried to get a better line through here. On this lap 20 now, wasn't quite able to carry the same amount of speed, and therefore we lost a bit of time, but still just under a tenth up. And so if we carry this through to the end, again, it's going to be an improvement. Pushing the track limits again to the limit, right on the edge. 1.5 tenths up as we come through this long left towards the back end of the track. Losing a bit of time here, but 1.5 tenths up going into the final 2 corners. And so this could be a 0.2 if I get this dead right. Through the penultimate corner, carrying the speed as much as possible, dropping down. Let's try and turn a bit earlier. Still missing that apex a little bit. and as we come up to the line, it is going to be an improvement. 27.3, so we are edging down that time, but I know I can get a 0.2 now. As we come into turn 1, let's try and really get on that power as early as possible, right up over the yellow sausage curb there. I thought that was going to be a penalty, but it wasn't. So we're now a tenth up on the 27.3. The lap times are tumbling at the moment, and that is good news, but I just need to keep this up. This has been a very tough session so far. Half an hour of lapping, and this is just the process you have to go through if you want to get that lap time down. You know, the best drivers in the world, they can probably just churn out the best lap in a few laps, but to really get the absolute best out of what is possible for you, you do have to put in the time, and that even applies to the top guys, there's no question about that. So into the middle sector here, a couple of very long lefts, rotating down into second gear, back to third on the power, maximising the curb on the way out. Here again, bit of patience mid-corner, back into third on the power, trying to get a good drive towards the penultimate turn. We have a small advantage, so we have surrendered a large part of the advantage we gained on turn 1, but we still definitely have a chance here of getting a 0.2. Through the penultimate turn, carrying good speed with a good line. Let's try and turn a bit earlier, as we do, over the curb, on the power nicely. Losing a tiny bit of time before the line, but it is going to be a nice improvement to a 27.2. And I tried to really push it here on this next lap, but it was perhaps one lap too far. Wow, half an hour there, 27.2. I'm happy with that. And with that, we go 87th in the world on a 27.229. So in my video earlier this week on the Scott speed account, I started at the back, did the medium to soft. This time might put me near the front, so we might do soft to medium. And that's exactly what did happen. I was at the front, pole position for race number 1 here, starting on the soft tyre. Now this was a race where you had to use the soft tyre and the medium tyre. And my strategy here was, starting from the front, I thought, well, let's go on the stronger tyre and try to pull away. And so this first lap was really a case of trying to lose the attention of this guy in second place. Okay, we're pulling away. That's a good opening lap there. As we confirmed there, over a second or near enough a second away, but through turn number 1, I suppose this is always going to happen, getting a nice little penalty. Could be a pen. And it is. Okay, I need to pull away. So lap 2, at the end of it, serving the penalty. Thankfully I had enough of a lead that I was still able to stay in first, but when you're trying to capitalise on the soft tyre and then you're losing ground like that, it really is not good for your overall strategy. As you can see here, at the end of lap 4, I had begun to pull away, not by a huge amount, 1.5 seconds, probably should be about 3 seconds by now. But here, that guy confirmed my worst fears, because he went into the pit lane and confirmed that he was indeed on the medium tyre and he was not on the soft tyre. So I definitely wasn't gaining enough. So I was the only person, as you can see, on the soft tyre doing the long first stint. And so eventually at the end of lap number 8, I'd peel over to the right hand side and head into the pits and change over to the medium tyre. I don't even know if I'm going to come back out in the lead here. I don't think my gap was big enough and they've been quicker for the last few laps. And it turned out I was dead right. As we exited the pit lane, you see the German there pulling out in front, and I'm going to be in a little battle here with the Austrian driver on home turf behind. Now I felt like I'm not going to fight this one too much. I still sense that there might be a chance to win. These guys are both on the soft tyre, they're on the better tyre. I thought if we could just get in the slipstream of these guys, we might be able to pull back to the leader. But unfortunately that was not going to be the case. As you can see here, lap 13, the final lap of the race, it kind of just, the gaps stayed very similar, and so it's going to be a somewhat disappointing third place given that we started on pole position. P3, I think that was it wasn't a bad race, it was just the wrong strategy. Everyone else was on mediums, I think, every other driver at the start, so that's not the right way to go. This time we're going to go on to the medium at the start. And for this second race, I wasn't actually on pole position. This time we had a Spaniard, slightly quicker, with a 27.1 at the front of the pack. But I was going to stick to my strategy, going on to the medium. I didn't know if this guy was on the medium or the soft, but I suppose over the course of the first few laps here, we would find out. Ultimately, my main goal was really just try to stay in the slipstream, make sure he didn't pull away, and try to not get overtaken and pushed back into the pack behind. That would be crucial for this race, and any seconds you lose in this early phase really does hurt you towards the end. And so you really want to keep this one nice and clean and fast and not get dragged into an unnecessary battle with the guys behind. Already the Spaniard seeming like he's getting away slightly. He had a really good line through turn 2, and sometimes it's hard to know if that's down to better tyres or if he is just taking it better than me. And so through here he is again slightly better on the exit, so let's see if I can just hang with him through the last half of this lap, and that would probably confirm if he's on the soft or the medium. And either way, it doesn't matter too much. I do just need to stick with him either way, but preferably he would be on the soft, but we'll see. Coming up to the last couple of corners here, all of that practice I was doing definitely helping at this point, and I've always said this in my videos that you should do a lot of practice, do a lot of qualifying laps, because not only does it improve your qualifying position, so I'm starting quite near the front on these races, it also just improves your consistency during the race, and you just really get into a better rhythm in the race. You understand where to brake and how to get more consistent lap times. So we're performing quite well, I would say, at this point, and quite happy with my pace in Gran Turismo 7 at the moment. There's still definitely room for improvement, as I'd say I'm not even in the top 10 in the UK, so there's definitely room to get faster. There's no question about that, but I think at the moment putting a good amount of time into GT7 and definitely getting back towards what I think is my best pace on this game. And I think the recent physics change in update 1.32 has actually helped me, as I think I drive better under these physics compared to the one before. But either way, it looks as though here in this race we are all on the medium tyre, and this is something about Gran Turismo which is quite strange, as yes, there is strategy available in this race where you can obviously start on the soft, start on the medium, come in at different times, different laps, but for the most part the strategy for this race seems to get really narrowed down to just doing either 4 or 5 laps on the medium and then doing the rest on the soft, and doing it in that order, medium to soft. And this is one thing you could say is a weakness of the strategy in Gran Turismo, where often it actually really gets narrowed down and there aren't actually many options. But here the main strategy really is to try to actually overtake this guy, as over the course of the first 2 laps I was a little bit slow and tentative on the first lap, but now really into the toe, and it looks like we can definitely go for an opportunity to overtake here. He's not really going to defend it or fight it, so looking for our braking marker, the 100 board. We can ride on board with the Spaniard as we go up the inside and claim the lead of the race. So that was pretty good. I didn't really expect to be able to overtake this guy quite so soon, but his lap 2 was a little bit off towards the second half of the lap, and it just invited me in, especially this first sector at the Red Bull Ring. Lots of very long straights, and so you don't really want a car directly on your tail through that section of the track. Otherwise it leaves you very vulnerable if you don't have any slipstream from in front. And he has a bit of a moment there on the infield. So for me, at this moment, I'm in the lead. I am somewhat under pressure. This guy clearly quick, but going back to my practice and qualifying, this is just another qualifying lap now. All I've got to do is just hit those markers that I've been trying to do at the start of this video. For half an hour I lap around this track doing nice consistent lap times, and so that's really where that is coming in right now. So the guys in 3rd and 4th both go into the pit lane, and yes, we just talked down the strategy, but there is some room for strategy here. I think the main difference was how many laps do you do on the medium tyre. So those guys opting for 3 laps We're going to try and go a little bit longer here, and that will give us an advantage towards the end of the race with a stronger, soft tyre. And I was watching the Spaniard through here. He had a really good line, carrying really good speed. And you can see the gap comes down back to me. So this is something you can learn as you go through a race. Just work out where are the guys gaining on me. And often I notice this during a race. I gain on this corner, for example, or whatever corner it is. You notice the gap to a certain driver is coming up or down, and so you know that that driver is good or better than you in a certain corner, therefore you can improve. So you can identify places where you can try a different line and try to improve a little bit during the race. And here I've definitely identified that the hairpin up at turn 3, I think that guy behind is definitely better than me. He's gaining a 10th every lap, I would say. So end of lap number 4 now, just pulling away slightly. I think I was stronger through the infield compared to this guy. And he is going to peel off to the right hand side and go into the pit lane. So this is going to be quite interesting. The German who was right behind him a lap ago pitted 1 lap earlier. And so it's going to be quite a close battle between the two of them once this Spaniard comes out of the pit lane. Meanwhile, back with me, just a case of, again, just churn out these laps. It's almost like I'm just trying to forget about the other guys at the moment. Just try to lap as quickly as possible on this medium tyre. This is going to be the last lap I do on these tyres, but I will have a good tyre advantage. Here is the Spaniard at the pit lane exit. Coming up, is he going to retain the position against the German, or is he not? It's going to be really close. The German has just done it. That just shows you the power of the undercut. The German getting onto the soft tyres 1 lap before, capitalising nicely and moving up a position. And so this kind of worries me slightly, as I was only just in front of this guy, and therefore this could be really close when I come out of the pit lane at the end of this lap. So let's take a look. This lap needs to be good. Any time we lose now could be crucial in losing a position when I exit the pit lane in about 30 seconds time. And so knowing that this is my final lap, we've got to get this pit entry correct, which is quite tricky to do. But we've got to brake and just hold the brake a little bit longer than normal, and peeling off to the right hand side. Of course, try not to get a penalty, because that would be really stupid. On this occasion, I think we've got a nice clean pit entry. Okay, the Spaniards dropped behind the German there, so I'm expecting to come out in 3rd or 4th in that group, but I will have fresher tyres, so this is going to be a really interesting second half of this race. And yes, I was hypothesising where I'd exit the pit lane. It was quite interesting looking back here with the replay. The Spaniard actually a little bit wide on the exit of the final corner. This is going to be really close. I mean, look to the right hand side. You better see me exiting the pit lane. There I am. The German is going to go through. And as I exit, I'm going to try and peel off into the slipstream of the German. And it's going to be just in front of the Spaniard guy here. And it's going to be a really close battle. I'm going to have to defend here as I go to the right hand side into the hairpin of turn 3. This guy is really strong around this corner. And as we go through, he just drives a little bit wide here. And that could be a penalty as we drag race down the back straight towards turn number 4. And indeed, as we go back on board with him, he has actually got a half-second penalty. I'm on the inside. I need to make sure I can secure this position. And we do just about edge him out. Edge him wide and get back to a net P2. So that was a crucial moment. Just how close that was. It was unbelievable how close that was. Even if I had lost maybe 0.2 of a second over the course of those first 5 laps, then I would probably be 1 position lower than I am. So now, thankfully, with that penalty that he is about to serve here, he's going to drop back, and now I don't really have someone on my back. I can turn my attention fully on trying to catch up with the German. So Casey Simba going a little bit long on the strategy on the soft tyre. He's going to go into the pit lane, and therefore this is the top 3. The German in the lead, myself in second, and then the Spaniard in P3. And now I'm in a good situation here. I know I've lost the lead. I started in second. I then got into the lead. I'm back into second, but I do have 2 laps fresher tyres, which will, towards the end of the race, be quite crucial. As these tyres begin to wear out, these guys will really begin to feel the effects of that before I do. And so I'm just going to try and play a nice long game here. You see the tyre difference as his front left, especially around the Red Bull Ring, taking a fair amount of abuse. And then how's he taking this corner? Pretty well, actually. Nice and solid in second gear, actually, on the exit. But my tyres, conversely, you can see a lot more life. And at the moment, it's not going to make a huge difference. But certainly as we get towards lap 10, 11, 12, 13, then there will be a noticeable difference. And at the moment, this is really a case of just trying to set nice and consistent laps and just not overwork the tyre just yet. Just need to play the patient game here. We still have 6 laps remaining after this one, so there's no need to really rush it. My main concern would be getting drawn into a big battle with this German, and then the Spaniard comes back into the picture. That's what we're worried about. 28-1, and anything in the low 28s I think is very solid race pace, so we're going to try and get that kind of lap time consistently. We are now into the slipstream range, and so we're just beginning to edge into that sort of area where he's going to start thinking about defending, and nowhere near close enough to go for an overtake. I'm sure he's more and more thinking about the presence of Super GT, slowly but surely getting a bit closer. Now on the exit of turn 2, as you can see there, the gap just, I think, goes up slightly as it... turn 3, sorry, that seemed to be my weak point in the race. There was no question about that, so that's something to go back upon and, you know, try to improve. My line, my carrying speed, my minimum speed, and getting back on the power through the hairpin of turn 3. That's something we can definitely try to improve upon. And that is definitely something that makes you faster, I think, in this game, or not only this game, but any sim racing game, really. That is identifying weakness and improving that weakness. So you can, you know, make yourself better at the things you're already good at, sure. But if you are clearly deficient in one area, or one corner, or, you know, a certain track, or a certain type of car, then, you know, practice in that. And that's the easy way to make yourself overall a lot better. And here, I think putting in the time trial around here, you know, time trial isn't something I'm normally that great at, but improving at it all the time and getting top 100 for this one, at least at the time of recording, you know, that's good. And it's putting me definitely in better positions at the start. I'm having better races. And now, as we approach turn 3, I'll be close enough to go for this overtake. Not quite, but we are definitely going to have half a chance here coming down towards turn 4, as we're going to tuck into the slipstream. Only 2/10 the gap. Is he going to go defensive? Yes, I sense he is, moving over to the right-hand side. I'm going to try to still go for this gap on the inside. With the fresher tyres, I have better braking ability, and I can move through into the lead of the race. He's going to try and fight this one back, though. And this is his best chance. He needs to try and reply instantly and keep me behind that way. Perhaps even push me back towards the Spaniard and get me into a battle with him. And so this section now I identify as a very important part of the race, as I need to try to break this guy in terms of the gap, not like physically. But I need to just open up this gap and make sure that by the time we exit turn 1, he's not within the slipstream range. Because if he is, he's just going to have another chance at me into turn 3. And I don't want to get drawn into a battle. I have the better tyres, I need to just pull away. And I need to capitalise on that advantage right now. So through turn 1, on the power as early as possible. Bit of a squirm, don't get a penalty. I'm going to try and break that toe by moving to the left, just being a little bit confusing here. He's going to follow me over roughly, but he's not gaining as much time, and he's definitely not close enough to really get a good couple of tenths out of that straight. Through here though, taking a much different line, as you can see, turning in a bit earlier and able to carry a higher amount of speed. So gaining back on me, so it's not completely over, and I don't think this guy had any intention of this race being over just yet. So coming down here, braking very late, very close to contact, doesn't quite happen thankfully. But now, I think I'm fairly settled in the lead. You can see the emotion on my face, or lack thereof. At this point, I was just very much in the zone. I knew what I had to do, and that was just lap consistently. I have the advantage, there's no need to panic. and just remember what I did in the training earlier, in the qualifying. Nice and consistent. The first 3 laps of this stint, 28.1, 28.1, 28.2. We'll see what this lap's going to be as we round out the penultimate turn. Running to the edge of the curb, get a better angle into the final corner, onto the power again, edge of the red and white, and you're okay. Over the line we go. It's going to be a 28.5, a bit slower that time, bit of a couple of mistakes, but I am just beginning to edge away. So you can see now it's quite clear that the tyre wear is quite bad on his car by lap 11, and on my car, you know, still pretty good shape, the tyres. And so by the end of the race, it was quite a clear picture. By lap 13, the gap was 2.5 seconds. You can see the front left especially, well, both left tyres have been dying of death for a long time, and my tyres conversely in fairly good shape. And after all of that, I was able to round out the final corner and bring home a very satisfying win. Come on, what a win that was. Get in there, Lewis. That was perfect. I don't think I could have done that much better. 4 seconds the advantage at the end. Definitely had the advantage on tyres over that guy. I think yeah, by a couple of laps to go he was struggling a little bit. But I absolutely loved both those races. I know the first one got the strategy wrong, but I think we identified what was wrong with it and then corrected it, and it worked out. I think that second race was a really good performance, and just really good battling with the German there and the Spaniard. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.